If I figure out where they're allowing the two RSSIs to go through, because we don't have much, so they've probably overridden something in here. Now I know there's three. Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back. So today I finally received the Furious FPV docking combo. Now this, I didn't know what to expect really. It sounds really nice on paper. Let's crack this guy open and see what we find and possibly do a teardown. So as you can tell here, we get our little baby instruction manual. It doesn't have much instructions, but it's telling you to get to the full user manual with a QR code so you can scan that with your phone. Now, something I didn't expect is I did not expect to receive a module with this package, but I guess, yeah, it comes with a module, so that's really nice. And this is the main module that I use on my Fat Shark for almost everything. And the receiver sensitivity and the overall impedance of the antenna down to the receiver is really good because I'm getting really long range with this Fat Shark module. So it's the same thing, however, the only difference is it's running a different firmware, which you can flash back and forth between the Fat Shark, and also firmware to go with the docking here. So let's go ahead and take this out. Now, there's something that I really didn't like, and it's a really good feature. It's this magnet here. It can somewhat affect some of the electronics, but I don't know to what extent, and I don't know how to test it. Now, for an example, I know I've seen some of Joshua Bardwell's testing videos, and they're saying this is supposed to improve range or just give you better overall quality, but it just kept seeming like it was not performing as good as the standalone one in a Fat Shark goggle. And the reason could be, I could be totally wrong here, but it's just, I'm highly, I just suspect it could be due to the magnet here, but I could be totally wrong, but it's just a theory of mine. Now, if we take a look at the bottom here, we have the little joystick. Now, I've seen some people have this little white cover for it, but I never received it. It's just a little button. It seems like it's missing the joystick, but yeah. So that's something. Maybe it's in here, but I just didn't notice it at first. But we'll take a closer look and maybe we find it. Let's take a look at some of the other things here. So this is really nice. They give you a really nice long cable for the AV output here. So you can put this into IOMWAVE V1s, IOMWAVE V2s, Eachine. Just about anything that's a goggle. However, the Eachine LCDs, you will have to create some kind of a small adapter, something like this, which I've created here, and it just basically connects. And we're going to take a look at it when we connect it into the screen. Just connect this into the Eachine screen here that I have. It's a diversity screen. So yeah, they give you a really nice long AV cable, and this will not tangle, and it should be very durable. So it's really good quality right out of the box. So that's a huge plus for Furious FPV, and I do love Furious FPV products. I've just always had really good luck with them. Except the 2.4 gigahertz really nice, but I just still don't see very practical, to be honest, for a quadcopter. But as time goes on, that might change. They also provide us with the power cable to Xt60. Now, this thing you also need to take note, it'll take 2 to 4S input only. So if you're having 6S's, just be careful. You might just blow this thing up. So we're going to come back to this in a bit. Also, just another thing that I really didn't like, if you can take a closer look in there, they're using really small wires. And I do have a feeling that these might rip in the field. So I would possibly, I don't know, make a different adapter for this. Probably use thicker cable that'll come out from here. So I know it'll have a great connection on the Xt60 in here. I think we could pop this off. We can, but we'll do that later. But that's just, it's okay, I guess. But they're using original, what are they? Xt60s here, if that makes a difference. Even though this is not a very power-hungry application. But that's really nice that they've done that. They give you a Furious FPV battery strap or some kind of strap-to-strap if you wanted anything to strap to it. And they also give us the, oh, here's the joystick. It's in here, actually. So that's really nice. So they also give us some SMA adapters as well. And this is really nice if you it just depends on your situation. Sometimes they do come really, really handy sometimes. And here's that joystick that I was talking about. I saw people's were actually clear, but I guess I got a red one, which is really nice. And that makes sense now, because when I first got it, I was like, how the hell do I access the menu in this? Now, there's a couple things that's really interesting that I want to discuss and talk about. And I also want to take this thing apart, which we're going to do in a bit. So yeah, they give us the SMA connectors, and that's about it in the package here. Now, this is really nice because also if you're going to go ahead and mod some of your things, you can just use this with the AV output. And it does have 2 AV outputs, and it has some kind of external port for some other things, DVR and a HDMI output. So that's pretty interesting, and those modules have been released, but I don't have them. And I might just want the DVR possibly for this, but it really doesn't matter because I'm going to be connecting this to some other things. So let's go ahead and power this guy up. And again, it takes a 2 to 4S LiPo. So for me currently, oh yeah, and it does have an on and off button right here. So now we've booted up, we can hear the beep. So there's something pretty interesting right out of the box when I got it. So obviously the firmware is different, and like I told you, it's going to be different. Now, but if we take a look down here, we have two LEDs, and these are to display the RSSI. And I was like, okay, well, what the hell do I need that for? It's really nice. But the thing that I want to understand is how are they passing the two RSSIs through the FatShock module? And this is pretty interesting because if I can figure out where, well, I can figure out, but I haven't really done it just yet. If I figure out where they're allowing the two RSSIs to go through, because we don't have much, so they've probably overridden something in here. Now, I know there's three. Let's go ahead and actually take this apart so I can just help you understand this a little bit more. Now, on the bottom of this, usually we have, I don't know if this is correct orientation right now, but it's okay. So on the bottom three, we usually have the SPI port that we could call. So these are to change the channels externally from an external device. Above that, we have the video feed. Above that, we have the audio feed. Above that, we have the another audio feed, if I remember correctly. And then we have ground or VCC. We have ground and then a not connected port. So they're probably either overtaking one of the audio channels and also the not connected port to display the RSSI. So that's how it can get the two RSSIs, or it's somehow speaking to this somewhat differently through the SPI protocol here. But I really don't know just yet. So I really want to take this apart and figure this out, because this can allow a couple things to happen. And obviously I've heard they're in the works of it, which is like a dual diversity, kind of like what the Eachine EV200 does. But the dual diversity on the Eachine 200 would, I don't think it would be as, well, it can be actually. It's very difficult to say. I don't know how they're comparing both of the RSSIs from their, their hardware diversity receivers. And their hardware diversity receivers are really good, like really nice. But the dual diversity, I don't know how good that is, but the overall just one of their built-in receivers for the EV200s is a really good receiver, because everything is just hardware based. There's no software overhead. But even then, saying that, this is still a really good module, obviously. Now, let's go ahead and plug this in and take a closer look at it. Okay, so currently I've just connected it to my Eachine LCD screen. However, you need to take note of something. My overlay OSD that is being piped out, not the current one that tells me what antenna I'm on and my frequency, the one that will allow you to jump into the docking settings, isn't really great on the Eachine for some reason. It gets all grayed out. As you can tell, see when I access it, this is supposed to be black and those are supposed to be white. And I don't know why it's doing that here, but on my FatShock and everything else, it's working great. Now, another thing I've also noticed, when I place this down, I'm tending to hit that joystick button, and it's really getting annoying, actually. I've done this quite a lot so far right now. So let's take a look at how I connected it. I utilized one of the AV outs. Now, this thing, again, has two AV outs, so I utilized this one. All it goes to here, obviously to this, and then it goes into the AV end of my screen. Now, and again, they also provided the AV out cable to go directly into your FatSharks as well as the IOMways. It's all using the standard size, so that's something really nice. You don't have to worry about different type of connectors in order to get it to work. So out of the box, it's working really great. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see, but we do have our OSD information here. It's telling us that the battery is 15 volts. We're on F1, and I think we can still go in and play with this. And I think we can go in and play with the RSSI also and add it. I haven't tested that just yet, but let's go ahead and see if we can actually do that. Okay, so we can't access the OSD menu from this in order to add the things that we need to overlay on the screen. However, the flickering is, I don't know why. I've noticed this also with my 2.4 gigahertz. It flickers quite a lot. So right now I'm accessing the other menu. It's going to be very difficult to see, but we're going to try to see the OSD layout here and add our antenna. Yeah, there we go. Antenna graph. We can add it. Simple. None. We'll just keep it simple, I guess. So it has two options, I guess, and you can choose between them. You can say basically like a patch antenna and a circularized polarized antenna, I guess. DVR off, because we don't have DVR. Mode active, I still don't know what that is. Lap results, lap and call sign, warning. Yeah, these things are okay. I don't think I'll be using all of these, to be honest. I really want to test out the the racing settings, but I don't know how well that's gonna be. But yeah, we'll get to see that very soon. So let's just save it right now and see what happens. Now we have a very fast changing RSSI signal next to each antenna. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Hopefully you will be. It's right there. Maybe if I put some kind of my finger in front of it, you could kind of see it. Why does it get so nasty like that? It just gets a lot of noise in the sensor. But there you go. Can you see it up top there? Currently, what is that also being overlaid? Okay, so this is the OSD. The blinking part is the OSD from the quadcopter here. If we take a closer look there, we have the RSSI from the patch antenna, even though we don't have a patch antenna on, but you just get an example here, and the circularized polarized antenna. Now, there's something really nice about this. It's the issue that made me think that the 2.4 gigahertz was just very slow, or it just felt the diversity part didn't feel so great. And the reason for that is these were updated so slowly. They would just just dip like crazy and all of a sudden just start to come back very slowly. But this, I love how it's just like absolute real-time RSSI, and it gives you just a better sense of security that you're gonna know before shit goes bad. You have just a better chance of knowing when enough is enough before things go bad. So that's a huge plus. I really like this. And I can totally see myself using this, and I'm actually going to be using this. It's really nice because I can output the same video feed to my goggle and to this screen. So if I wanted to take off, if I wanted to take off my goggle for a bit, repoint the antennas, I also can see here while I'm repointing the antennas in the correct direction. And I'm having the exact video feed, because when I was testing before, I was using the inbuilt antennas on this, and in longer range, I'd take off my goggles. There was a time where I had no feed here, but I had feed in my Fat Shark. And then when I started pointing, I put the goggle down. I basically, just shit myself, because I just had full on static inside my FPV goggles also. And that was just really scary for me. So I just hit return to home. Finally, I got my video feedback. So that was really reassuring that it did that actually. Overall, I do see this as a really nice product. I actually will be using this. I'm very happy that I actually got this. I'm very excited to see how well it's going to go. And I think we can make a small, cheap DIY version of something of this nature, since I've been doing a lot of these. If you've seen my EV006 video, I've already made like a pre-module kind of for, the Fat Shark mods. It's a very simple one. But we can do something of this nature, not to the extent of this with OSD and everything, but I do have some crazy couple ideas what we can add to it. So yeah, this thing has a lot of features that I still haven't tested, like the lap timer. I mean, it's not going to be very accurate, but it's going to be pretty decent enough if you want to just have fun with your friends or something. It should be pretty good, but I think it only monitors one channel at a time, so you probably need multiples of these, or a couple of these. And I do believe this also has Bluetooth, if I remember correctly. I don't really remember just yet. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and also this thing does have Bluetooth compatibility, so you can start changing. What's really nice, you can control basically the channel through your phone if you wanted to, which is really cool here. I haven't tested it just yet, but I will be doing an in-depth review in the field for this, because that's where I think I really want to test this in here. But overall, it's a really, really nice piece of hardware. It just, it's a nice, fresh, product that's in the market. And we kind of really needed that, and it's really nice because you're taking full advantage of the Fat Shark modules, because to be honest, they're one of the best things currently that's going to give you the best overall penetration and possible range, other than something like what is it called, antenna tracker. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and start taking this bad boy apart, and let's just take a look at the internals, because I'm very curious to see what we have inside, and I can't take this out. Why? Alright, so for the screws, they're actually using 1.5, I believe 1.5 millimeter hex screws, but actually it's not fitting, or maybe I'm just putting it in wrong. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, they're using 1.5 hex screws here. So let's just take this bad boy apart and see what we get inside. I wish they labeled the DVR port, which one was the video, and like which one was 5 volt or 10 volt or whatever, and which one was ground. And maybe audio too, because then that would be also a third output for us on this device, which we can easily create right now once we open it if we wanted to. We could redesign a whole case for it and actually mod this thing to make it even just slightly different and maybe a little bit better if you're missing some of the functionalities that you would really like. So let's just take this guy apart. Alright, so there we go, just 4 screws. They're all 1.5 millimeter hex screws, and it just comes right off. Okay. All right, so here's the module. So they're using the what is this? Is this an ESP? This is, I think, an ESP32 module here, if I remember correctly. Yes, or the Bluetooth modules. I think it's the ESP32. No, yeah, ESP8266 module here, but they don't have Bluetooth compatibility. No, I think this is an ESP32 currently running in here for the Bluetooth connectivity. And if we take a look here, they're using just one basic PCB for the RGB LEDs here. And we can see this is where the power is connected. This is because this is the power switch here. All right, guys, so a closer inspection here, what I can see is they're actually using a low ESR capacitor for the video feed, or just for the overall system to keep it clean, because these switching regulators can introduce some noise into the video feed that you're watching, and they filtered that out, because I did notice that when I did my DIY LCD ground stations that I did have that issue when I use a switching regulator. So they're not using a linear regulator, they're using a switching regulator with a low ESR capacitor to kind of keep everything overall clean. And overall, I mean, it's really nice design. It doesn't look like they've cut corners. It looks really good, well made, pretty simple. They kept it simple, which is a huge plus here. Here we have our little buzzer. I think this is one of those loud buzzers right there, if you can see that. Now this is really nice. I was really hoping for a little bit more in here, and let me tell you what I'm talking about, which is these ports right here for the connectors for the HDMI as well as the DVR. Now we already know that ground and 5 volt are the ones all the way up to the left if you're looking at it from the outside. So those are ground and 5 volt, but in here they're not really specifying, but I can go ahead easily just bring my oscilloscope and see what I'm getting here. So yeah, I can see that. So one of them, I know one of them is going to be for sending signals like record and stop record, basically like a button signal. And if we have 4 here, yeah, we do have 4. So it could be like a menu up, down. No, but I don't know if I tested the DVR, so I have no idea. Anyways, one of the other 4 is going to be the video feed, obviously, and one should be audio. And then we're left with two other connectors here that I don't know where they're going to, but maybe we'll figure that out later if we want to take advantage of this, because we could easily remove this connector and just solder something else that'll work if you wanted to, or you can just buy something that goes in here and connect it to whatever you want. What they're using for the microcontroller unit, they're actually using an F3 microcontroller unit here, and here we have the memory for it, which is I think it's a 16 megabit memory. I'm not sure, but it could be possibly a little bit more. So it does have its memory. Here's everything that we need to get everything going here. It's really nice, well designed, well made. I don't see anything wrong with it. It just looks really good. So I can see a possible issue here. Just a possible issue. I could be totally wrong here. The Bluetooth functionality, or this piece right here, I need to double check. I think this is an ESP32. I'm almost certain it's an ESP32. If it's an ESP32, that means it has both Bluetooth and 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, which can possibly cause some interference on 2.4 gigahertz video transmitters, like the Furious FPV long-range 2.4 gigahertz. I could be wrong here, but it's a possibility that you should keep in mind here. I will test that eventually, but that's something you should take note of here when you are purchasing this. And I really can't say anything else about this. It's a really great device. I mean, the market kind of really needed something like that. I wish it was a little bit, cheaper, but I can say that, anyone can say that to any product. This took time to develop, manufacture, and just get it going. And it's a really great idea. I love the modular part and the 2 AV outputs. I think that's a huge plus in my opinion. I'm actually in love with the 2 AV outputs. And the overall, I wonder what they're also going to do with this. I mean, I wish they would possibly release the firmware, make it open source. Then we would see all kinds of crazy mods and source codes and all kinds of crazy things coming out for this, which would be really, really interesting here. Now, the rapid fire, I'm planning on getting it in and actually really testing it, because I think the switching frequency is so fast for that one that it eats up the pre-equalization pulses, and that some devices just cannot recover from that, and that's why a lot of people are having issues. But it's also really nice at the same time that they set up legacy mode, which will basically allow you to just revert back to just a lower video switching frequency. So yeah, I think that's what's really going on, because every video signal, or every half a frame, so let's just say here's the frame like this, there's this little part right here. Oh, let's just go another frame. So 2 of these make 1 frame. Two of these make 1 frame, 2 signals. And these are pre-equalization pulses. What they tell them is like, okay, this is the start of the second frame, or we are on the first line, or we are on the, because you know how it's TV lines. This is where the information is relayed. If it's NTSC, depending on the spacing between the pre-equalization pulses down here, this is all the video. And when this kind of gets screwed up, then you start seeing, you know, flickering, you know, the screen going black, and all these things. Now, I don't know to what extent, so just me talking about it, don't think it's all fucked up and it's all bad, you know, just because I said that. I haven't tested it. I'm just going off of what I heard a little bit, but overall, I'm hearing it's a really great device. But again, I've never tested it here, so I can't really speak much about it. But I'm just speaking about the theory, and I just really, once I get my hands on it, I really want to take a closer look and actually show you what's really going on. I really like the fact that they're using really fast video switching ICs, but again, you know, a hardware base can do also about the same thing, but I don't know, I'm just speaking from my head right now. So I'm gonna put this together, we'll take one last look at it, and we'll take it from there. So overall, I can totally see the use for this, especially if you're using a ground station with a screen and you really wanted to get into the Hakcrc modules and actually test them and see if you get better range for something that you're currently using. Or you can, you know, easily put this on a stick and just put it up very high, then you have possibly a lot better signal if you're using into RC airplanes. Now for quadcopters, you know, I mean, I can see it for racing, but other than that, I don't know what the average person would actually use it for, but I'm very curious to know what you guys would use it for. I can see myself using it for a lot of things: antenna testing, long range setups, or just having someone watch with me, or just having my goggle and my screen getting the same image at the same time. So if I remove my goggle, I'm still able to monitor everything that without worrying about the signal much. So, you know, it just has a lot of uses, and I've only covered just some little stuff from it, but overall it's a really nice product in my opinion. I truly do like it. I feel like I'm biased somewhat to this, but it's just because I really like it and I see how useful it is, at least for me. I don't know how useful it is going to be for you, but let us know down in the comment section. I'm always curious to hear what you think, and I'll have a link to this down below, guys, if you can check that out. That greatly supports the channel. And yeah, well, that's it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.